Hello guys and welcome back to another video of Between the Ropes TV. Now guys, today we've got another special guest joining us. We've got heavyweight contender Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to taking time out of your day to come and join us. Now obviously guys, we obviously know Jermaine Franklin as the heavyweight who recently fought on the DAZN and Matchroom card against Dillian Whyte a couple weeks ago. Just go straight into it. Jermaine, you were born and raised in Saginaw, Michigan. Now, talk to us about your journey into boxing and what really got you into fighting.
My stepdad got me into boxing. I'm not gonna say I was a bad kid, but I guess I was a little trouble getting into a couple fights and stuff outside of school. So one day I got into a fight. I came home and he was just like, "You might as well box. You always fighting anyway." So been doing it ever since. I probably was about 12, 13.
Yeah. Do you recall your first ever boxing training lesson or your first spar?
Um, I recall a lot of it. I actually took the first time I went on the pads, I went on with my coach now, Jesse Addison. But when I first started though, my coach name was Juan Garza, an older guy from the Saginaw area. And yeah, that was my first coach. I first trained, first sparring. I think it was with a guy named Ernesto Garza and somebody else I can't remember, but they was beat me up. They used to beat me up bad in the gym. It's a warrior sport, so I guess I needed that early on.
Yeah, no, 100%. Obviously, that's the only way that you're obviously going to learn and develop as a fighter is by getting chucked in there against people who are a lot more advanced than you.
Yeah.
Let's obviously, who were your idols or fighters that you looked up to growing up as you got into boxing?
Honestly, it's Holyfield. I love the old guys. Holyfield probably is my favorite fighter, hands down. But I like all the greats. The Tysons, Holyfields, Larry Holmes, Lennox Lewis. I like all the older guys. Sweet Pea. Basically all the legends, all the greats, all the old greats. I just think the caliber of man was a little different back in the day. You only had one belt. It wasn't a lot of ducking people, so you had to fight. And I just kind of like that era of boxing. It was a little gritness to it that I think we need back.
Yeah, no, 100%. I do agree. Like the old school, everyone talks about, the old school fighters and how a lot of people look up to similar names to, as you just mentioned there. Now, obviously, we know, let's go into your amateur career now. We know, obviously, that you boxed in the Nationals as an amateur, and we know the depth of talent of fighters that are usually coming out of the USA. So obviously, how did that competition mold you? How did you find it as you started to enter them competitions? Did you find yourself coming unstuck or?
Um, Honestly, when you do national tournaments and the amateurs, it's very hard, especially as a kid, because a lot of people don't understand. As an amateur, you work hard. Probably not as much as a pro, but you still work hard. And to get to a competition where you have to fight every day for about a week it takes a lot out on your body. So I don't think we commend amateurs enough for being able to compete at a high level like that with some of these national tournaments, because it's a very hard experience to be able to. You don't have time to sit back and study fighters. You don't have time to sit back and try to do everything you would to prepare like we would as professionals, because you don't have the time. So it was real hard being able to adjust. You have to adjust by the days. Like I might fight, and hopefully the guy that I gotta fight tomorrow fights after me, so I can watch them fight. But if not, then I gotta be able to adjust on the fly or try to make a game plan off the little bit I did see. So in the amateurs, it was a real tough experience, but I think it helps mold you for the pros as for the level of competition you will be facing, because a lot of those guys you see at nationals you will see in the pros. So I think it helps with the level of competition, and I think it helps with the diversity as far as boxing, helping you being able to adjust to different styles, see different styles, being able to react to how other people fight, or just basically giving you a general boxing learning experience.
Yeah. And what would you say your standout moment as an amateur boxer was?
Beating Cam Awesome in the National Golden Gloves. I had lost to him the year before I beat him. So I think it was like 2013 or 2014. But it was either back to back. One year I lost to him in the finals, and the next year I beat him in the finals.
Yeah, no way. And 100%, I do agree. Now, obviously, we know the USA has a great lineage and history of producing top class heavyweights. Now, as if I think there's an argument as time has gone on, we are starting to see less and less top class heavyweights coming out of the USA. We had the greats of, like you mentioned, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Evander Holyfield, so to speak. Of recent times, there are less heavyweights coming out from the USA who are competing at the elite level of heavyweight boxing. Do you feel as though you're carrying pressure on your shoulders as being one of the flag bearers of elite heavyweight boxing in the USA?
I think all Americans are. I don't think it's just me in particular per se, but I think all the top American boxers are. We need to find out a way how to get the kids back involved in the sport to bring the sport back to the life. Boxing is not dead, but we need to bring it back to how it was. Boxing was very big. It was done all over the world. Multiple shows, great welterweights, great heavyweights. We had great people in every weight class. I just feel like us as American heavyweights, we need to find out a way to get the kids more motivated to jump back into the sport.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, obviously, let's move fast forward into your career. Obviously, we know you're coming off quite a high in your career. You featured headlining a card on the Zone, fighting against Dillian Whyte on a Matchroom show. But it wasn't always that rosy for you in your career. A lot of people can agree. You obviously had that big gap. You had that 3-year gap where you weren't able to fight or you weren't participating as a pro boxer because obviously you were going through some financial difficulties. Could you talk to us
Uh-huh.
about that and the mental difficulties and stuff that you faced going through that period?
I mean, it's a little hard. It's a little depressing, but I'm from a small city. We kind of hard and gritty up here, so it wasn't too much sit back and be sad about my situation. I just got up and had to do what works for me. I got a little job and stuff to take care of my family. I had to provide for me and my family, so I just had to keep on, keep adjusting, to keep moving. But it was always thought though that I was waiting for boxing to pick back up. Though I was waiting for the phone call or waiting for another opportunity. So I was glad that I actually got an opportunity, even though I kind of had a short camp. But I honestly felt like I won the fight. CompuBox numbers. If anybody looks at them and know boxing, CompuBox numbers say I won the fight too. So it's just the politics. We know how boxing works, but I'm grateful to be back in something I love to do though. So
Yeah, no, definitely. There is obviously a lot of argument. I think social media will even show that a lot of people had it, 50-50. Some people had you winning it. But certainly one thing that a lot of people can make the point of was the scorecards did not reflect how the fight actually went. Now, anyways, moving on in your career, obviously, just that builds me on to the next question. You certainly captured the attention of many boxing fans that night against Dillian Whyte. You came into this fight as a heavy underdog. People were writing you off. Let's be real, they saw you as a knockover job. Now, if we just look at your story in the last 2.5 to 3 years, you obviously been through your difficulties. I know you had that comeback fight in between, but
mhm.
how were you able to stay motivated and stay on track to have that fight and go in there against an elite top 10 heavyweight?
Like I say, we just from a gritty place, man. We always faced a lot of obstacles. We always been like people from my city. We always been left out. We always been looked down upon. We always been, the outcasts. So coming from a place like I come from, we all have that in us, like that hard work, that determination. So it wasn't hard for me. Like honestly, when I got the call, I told my job like, "Hey, I'm done. I got to get in shape. I got like 5 to 6 weeks to get in shape and get ready for a fight." So I just straight up told him like, "I'm done," and I did everything in my power. We ran every day. We worked there. I barely got a rest. We just did everything we could to get in shape and be prepared for the fight.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, obviously, the decision didn't go quite your way, but your stock certainly did grow. And a lot of UK fans would definitely like to see you back here, because there's plenty of fights for you. We talk about the likes of, Daniel Dubois, etc.
Yeah,
We'd like to see you in with them. How do you think you fare against the other heavyweights in the UK who are up and coming right now?
man, I beat a lot of those guys up. That's the scary part is, boxing is kind of it's not of a big world, but it is at the same time. Like boxing people, like the sparring sessions I had out there. Dave Dubois want to say he was smashing me up. All these guys want to say I'm lazy and I don't do this and that. But I'm like, I will fuck a lot of these guys up. If we was really fighting hand to hand combat in the ring, a lot of this wouldn't be said. A lot of this trash talking stuff, it would be totally different in the fight. So, like I always said, I'm not running from nobody. I'm not ducking no smoke. Long as it makes sense for me and my family, then we can make it happen.
Yeah, well, you just alluded to, some criticism that you received from various people within the boxing industry during your time here whilst preparing for the Dillian Whyte fight. How do you think a rematch between yourself and Dillian Whyte goes, and what do you think you've got to do if you get that opportunity again to win the fight?
If I got another fight with Dillian, listen to me, I'll be in better shape. I'll be in better condition. I will have a whole training camp. It would be a whole different fight. I probably would dominate more than I did the first fight if I don't knock him out. But it's just in boxing we got to put it to where we're able to be on even playing fields. There's a lot of this type of stuff that goes on in boxing, and it gets talked about, then it gets swept under the rug. It needs to be even playing field for all boxers. I don't care if you're American, Swedish. I don't care where you're from. If you go to another country and fight, it should be even for all fighters.
Yeah, well, obviously, we know, obviously, usually going somewhere as an away fighter, it's very hard, especially if it's a close fight. You really do need a knockout or a knockdown to secure the win. Do you
Yeah.
feel as though, after that experience, you've now headlined the show, you've been part of a big show, because, let's be real, you haven't really had the exposure and, all that media work and performing on a big platform, etc., in the past. Do you feel as though that's put you in perfect stead? Say you get a fight next year against another British fighter, or if you get the rematch.
Yeah, I mean, I think it put me in a good stint to fight anybody. But as far as fighting the England fighter, like I said, I had to be on the even playing field. I can't let them try to do me like they did me last time. I feel like the decision was unfair. But I'm not afraid to go anywhere and fight anybody. Like I said, where I'm from is warrior mentality. It's eat or get ate. So we always had that mentality to be strong and try to conquer anything in front of us.
Yeah, well, obviously another point to go into, you were in camp with Tyson Fury to help prepare with his fight with Derek Chisora. Now, obviously, he got the win recently. How do you think a fight between Tyson Fury and Usyk goes if that undisputed fight gets made?
It'll be a great fight. Usyk is a great puncher. Tyson Fury has great timing and he knows how to set stuff up. So I honestly think it'd be a good fight. If Tyson gets his jab going to get in his rhythm earlier, then Tyson might pull it out. But like I said, Usyk is a puncher. He's not. I'm not going to say he's super dangerous. Like he's going to knock a whole bunch of people out, but he's dangerous enough to where he can touch you enough times where you don't touch him a lot. So that fighting somebody like that is great because he can just pop shot you all day. He doesn't have to use a whole bunch of energy. So a guy like that is dangerous as well. But I think it honestly be a great camp because I like Loma Chico and them. I like the footwork. I love the movement that they bring to the game. So find somebody that's elusive like that is kind of hard because in boxing you waste a lot of big punches. You take a lot of energy from you, and Eustace is a guy you don't want to waste energy again.
Yeah, no, definitely do agree. We do look forward to seeing that fight. Now, just to close off, just got two questions with you. The first one, in an ideal world, how does 2023 play out for Jermaine Franklin?
2023 playoff for me, getting me a couple great fights. I would love to fight 3 to 4 times a year. Give me a couple great fights and make my run back towards trying to chase a championship.
Yeah. And the last question, have you got any message for the other heavyweights out there?
Just y'all seen a glimpse. I know y'all pretty still sleeping on me. Y'all think it's a fluke, but I just want to tell everybody, watch out. I'm gonna come and shock the world.
Well, there you go, guys. Jermaine Franklin, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.